So welcome back to Lisbon. Welcome to the second episode of the ESCDaily Show. I'm joined today by Maciej Mazanski from Dobro Večer Europa.
Very
Poland.
good, very good.
There you go.
Hello, hello.
And Toby, you're from Aftonbladet, you're here as well. Thank you for joining us both. Both your countries are performing in the second semi-final, from whom we've now seen all the first rehearsals. Let's discuss Poland first. Your countries had a continuing streak of discrepancy between jury and televotes, and this year, given with this DJ entries, probably not going to be a different year.
I have no idea, because last year I was saying that no, this year the juries must appreciate our singer, and this time it will be okay with the juries. But no, I was wrong. The same with the Michał Szpak in Stockholm. So I will just be silent on this topic. I have no idea. I hope that this time the juries will appreciate that it's a very modern, radio-friendly song. That's the biggest.
It's almost like a Swedish song, isn't it?
It is a Swedish song.
It is
The
a Swedish song,
the
a
singer
little
is
bit.
Swedish, and the songwriters are Swedish. So I'm
The producer is Polish.
Oh yes, yes, and of course the DJ himself. Yeah. So, but I'm sure that if the song does well, us Swedes, we're gonna kind of semi-claim it. We always do when Swedes are involved.
Were you happy with the first rehearsal? When
Yes,
you saw it yesterday?
I think it was very good first rehearsal. There is energy. I think it's the key word of the whole performance. Energy. The song is positive, summer vibes. I like very much how he interacts with people. Now there was no people, but he will interact with people on the catwalk. So the camera work will be better as always in Eurovision. So I was really satisfied with the rehearsal.
Is this the type of song, Toby, that could do well not just in Melodifestivalen but in Eurovision as well?
It is an extremely radio-friendly song, and I do think that even if it wouldn't be in Eurovision, it would do well on radio through Europe. It could do well. I'm quite positive about Poland this year. You know, we've had our fights earlier, but I'm quite positive to it.
Tak samyket.
I do think that this year it would probably get a little bit more of the jury votes as well. So it will probably not be a televote favorite that way, but rather both jury and televotes.
Is this, more in general speaking, is this second semi-final that we've seen now, is it the weaker of the two that I've heard?
Yes.
I've heard many people
Yes.
say that.
Of
Yes.
course,
Yeah.
of course.
There are songs in the first semi-final that had they been in the second semi-final, I would have been sure they would qualify. Whereas now I'm not so sure they will in the first.
I absolutely agree.
Yeah. And are there any potential winners in the second semi-final? Because I could count, according to the betting market, I could count 4 or 5 in the first semi-final.
Well, we've got Sweden and Norway, which Sweden will always be considered a contender until somebody fails miserably on stage, and Norway, of course, with Alexander Rybak making his Eurovision comeback. I think he's going to be the one to beat in the second semi-final. I'm not sure that either of them actually will be in the top 3 in the final, but they might. So there might be a winner in the second.
So Nordics again then. Let's move to the Nordics. Let's move to Benjamin Ingrosso, who was on stage yesterday.
Backing vocals is everything, especially in a modern song that I have. So the production is already there. So, and if you take away the vocals, it's gonna sound pretty empty. So, and I still wanted to be on stage as I was in Melodifestivalen, but I have 5 amazing singers that I have with me. So there's 3 girls and 2 guys, and I couldn't have better vocalists this time, and they are doing a great job. And we're trying to make the song live sounds a bit the same as in the audio, like the version that's out on Spotify. But we still want it to sound a little bit more live, so that people will feel that it's live.
backing vocals are an important part of my team. They're an important discussion part for the Swedish performance as well, because many people commented, even during Melodifestivalen already, on the question how much of this song does Benjamin actually sing live. Have you covered that as well as Aftonbladet?
We have, of course, and especially when he won, because since you can't have any pre-recorded backing vocals in Eurovision, he was aware that he needed to change that, and it was a little bit of a worry for him because of the echo parts where where it sounds like he is repeating himself. Although in Melodifestivalen that wasn't himself singing that it was pre-recorded, but it wasn't with his voice, because he's not in Melodifestivalen. The pre-recorded backing vocals are not allowed to be the singer himself. But we've all been curious to hear what it sounds like when he has only live backing singers. And I wasn't here. I wasn't present during his rehearsal. But from what I hear people saying and what the little parts I've heard, it sounded quite all right.
What do you think? You were here.
Yeah, from my point of view, it's the best first rehearsal of Sweden since Sanna Nielsen.
Oh wow!
Because every year since then, when I watched...
Why are we so good friends now? We normally fight about these things. Come on, yeah.
Things are changing for better. Last year's, when I saw very good songs and very good performance from Sweden, it was always this feeling that it's good, but in Melodifestivalen it was better. Now I didn't have that feeling. So I think it's a good sign that it's really done well, and I'm impressed that it's very difficult for the technical crew to manage this performance.
Maybe it's easier because
good job.
There are no LED screens here, so Sweden brought their own.
Yeah, exactly. But also that's what looks like a sunbed or something that he sings in front of. It's so important for his performance. I would say that without that, the song is all right, but together with what it looks like on stage, that's basically what makes his.
Is it as important for him as, for example, the screens were for Mons in 2015?
I would say it is, even though the screens with Mons were much more impressive visually, with how they cooperated. This is much more simpler, but it still makes it look like a music video when he performs, and I think that makes the entry really slick. Whereas I do think that Mons had a stronger song in Heroes, and that standalone worked better than it does for Benjamin to just sing his song.
Sweden potential winner in this weaker semi-final? I'm just talking about the semi-final now.
Yes. That's my answer. Yes, Norway is also a favorite to win this semi-final, but I think it will be Sweden.
Norway, as you said, and as you already mentioned as well, also had a very good first rehearsal today, but then at the press conference, something strange happened.
What is it about the violin, the qualities of a violin, that you see in yourself?
What a nice question.
It's such a nice question that I didn't quite understand it.
Come on.
So,
what?
You Alexander as a person,
yes,
and the violin, you're connected, been connected for years. But the violin has some wonderful qualities. What are the qualities of a wonderful violin that match you?
That you have to.
I'm sorry, one more. No, I'm sorry to kill it a little bit, but I was thinking how dry I am in my throat. So right now I'll just find water.
Thank you very much.
Tack stig.
Very good at this portion we are going to soccer.
And I'm so sorry. Just a second. Or you can try to say it once again. I'll try to understand.
No, because violin is a beautiful instrument and has a beautiful sound.
After this press conference, the Norwegian delegation announced that Alexander Rybak was indeed a little bit sick. He has the flu. Do you think that he's a professional, of course, that they will make sure that he's back in time for the important second week here in Lisbon?
I hope so. They have to do everything they can to do it. He looked really exhausted, and he wasn't himself, I guess.
And since the rehearsal, as far as I've heard, was so good, he probably used up, if he is a little bit sick, he used up all the energy to nail the rehearsal, and then Okay,
and that is the most important part.
Exactly. Well, not the rehearsal, but the 3 minutes on stage. So
Yeah.
if he decides, because I remember in Moscow he cancelled a lot of interviews. He did the press conferences, but he cancelled a lot of interviews because of the pressure, because he was so much of a favorite back then. And now, even if he needs to do the same thing because of his health, that is all right, because the only important thing, sure, us journalists, we will be a little bit disappointed because we want to do our interviews, but the only important thing for the artist is the 3 minutes on stage, and also the 3 minutes on the second dress rehearsal, the jury rehearsal.
And he did a good job during this rehearsal, so it doesn't matter that he didn't do
What did you like
such
most?
a good press conference.
What did you like most about the performance that you saw during that rehearsal?
His smile, his eyes, that's everything that you need to have on stage. It was very natural. Yeah, I think it was just a very good atmosphere around this performance. It was very cheerful, and I think that's the key of the success, because it's not the song. It's
No,
not the
Jesus,
song.
no, it's not the song. The song is not one of my favorites, to be a little bit neutral here, but the way he does it, when he walks up on stage, his whole persona and the way he, exactly, the smile and the eyes, that's what makes him an artist, and that's what differs him from so many others, that when he is on stage, Jesus Christ, he just wipes everyone else off, and that's what makes him a contender this year.
Yeah, I mean, people have argued that it's very important, if you want to do well at Eurovision, that you look like a winner. Well, he doesn't have to look like a winner. He is a former winner, and you can see it when he enters the stage.
Although we've seen several previous winners return to Eurovision and
That's
flop.
true.
We've
That's
got
true.
both Charlotte Perrelli, of course, the Swedish,
Yes.
and we've got Dana International. Was
Oh
a
my
big flop.
goodness, yes.
And and Charlotte wasn't supposed to be in the final either. She was saved by the jury.
Saved
back
by the
then.
juries. Well, I think he's going to do better than both. Anything else that stood out from the second semi-final performances that you saw?
It's such a boring semi-final, and I think it's very flat. So that's why I think Poland might benefit from it. That it stands out a little bit, as well as Sweden. But it doesn't matter in which semi-final Sweden is. It will do better. So that's what I want to say about this semi-final.
It is such an unlucky draw this year, with so many favorites in the first semi-final compared to the second. So yes, let's hope the viewers don't.
And
fall
what about
asleep
Hungary
during-
then, if I can be a little bit of a rock nerd in here, because I loved that performance yesterday as well. Is it just me?
You know my taste. You know what I think about it. I love the song. I love the performance. It stands out. I forgot about this one. It really stands out.
I'm not a rock fan at all, but I like this song. It's one of the songs that exactly, it stands out. It's got a great hook, and what I've seen of them perform is really good as well. So I do think that yes, we do need a rock song in the final, and had it been in the first semi-final, it might not have qualified, but I'm quite sure it will be.
Now it will, yeah.
Definitely.
That's what I think as well. All right, so we're almost at the end of the show. Can you both tell us a little bit about what you will be doing throughout the next 1.5 weeks here in Lisbon? What are your plans?
Oh, still a lot of work. I hope for some interviews, but it's difficult this year. And I will watching carefully every rehearsal and try to predict the results, and of course focus on Poland and their steps to the final, I hope.
So let's hope that everybody will check your YouTube channel, Dobro Večer Europa.
Dobry wieczór, Europa.
What about you, Toby?
Well, I'm of course here covering Sweden mostly, but my newspaper also covered Eurovision in full. So I'm always interested if there are any politics going on behind the scenes, because for me, Eurovision is a lot about politics. But also I will cover Sweden versus Norway, because that's always interesting for our Scandinavian readers, who will do the best, and but also identifying the favorites and interviewing them. I do have an interview with Netta later on, for instance, from Israel, and I'm gonna do a few more of those. So I'm just gonna cover everything, but give me a little bit of politics in this competition, and then I'm gonna be all over it.
Say hi to Christer Björkman from me. And you, thank you for watching, and keep checking ESCDaily.com for all the latest updates on this Eurovision Song Contest. Good night.